Journey to the Western Vernacular, Chapter 35. Yuhua County accepts disciples and serves as lion monsters. In this day, the four masters and disciples of Monk Tang came to a county called Yuhua County under the kingdom of Tianzu. The city lord in the county was a royal relative of the emperor of Tianzu, and was named King Yuhua by the emperor of Tianzu. Not long after, they arrived at Yuhua Palace. Tang Seng asked his 3 apprentices to rest in the guest house. He went into Yuhua Mansion alone to meet with King Yuhua to check the customs clearance documents. After a while, 2 officials on duty came to the guest hall to invite Sun Wukong and others to have a vegetarian meal. The 3 people were brought into the palace. The dining officer led the 4 masters and disciples of Tang Monk to the exposure pavilion. A vegetarian feast has been set up in the pavilion. While their master and apprentice were eating, 3 little princes came in. The eldest prince was holding an eyebrow stick, the second prince was holding a 9-tooth rake, and the third prince was holding a black oil stick. When the 3 princes saw the ugly appearance of Sun Wukong, Zhu Bajie, and Sha Seng, they thought they were monsters, so they came up to fight with their weapons. Zhu Bajie took out his 9-tooth rake and shook it, and saw thousands of golden lights, which frightened the second prince so much that his hands became weak and his muscles were numb, and he dared not take another step forward. Sun Wukong also took out his golden cudgel and shook it. It was as thick as the mouth of a bull, and stood straight on the ground. Sun Wukong said to the eldest prince, "If you can lift it, I will give you this stick." The eldest prince tried his best to move the golden hoop. The third prince was not convinced, so he took out the black oil stick and hit him. Sha Monk raised his hand to block it, and then took out the dragon subduing treasure staff and held it in his hand. It was so dazzling that the 3 princes and the officials beside him were all stunned. The 3 little princes knelt down together and asked Sun Wukong and others to show their kung fu to open their eyes. Sun Wukong, Zhu Bajie, and Sha Monk jumped on the clouds one after another, stepped on the colorful auspicious clouds, waved their respective weapons, and displayed their skills, making the sky above Yuhua City sparkle and shrouded in aura of auspiciousness. The soldiers and civilians all over the city burned incense and worshipped. After the 3 of them finished the exercise, they landed in the clouds. The 3 princes hurriedly returned to the palace, told their father, and asked his father to ask Tang Monk to let the 3 of them become apprentices, so that the city-state can be protected in the future. Lao Wang agreed and brought the 3 princes to see Tang Seng. Unexpectedly, Sun Wukong agreed immediately before Tang Seng spoke. Lao Wang was very happy and immediately ordered a big banquet to be held in honor of Tang Monk and his disciples. Early the next morning, the 3 princes came to perform the apprenticeship ceremony. Sun Wukong asked them what weapons they should learn. The eldest prince said that he should learn the stick, the second prince should learn the rake, and the third prince should learn the staff. Sun Wukong saw that their power was not enough, so he taught them his magical power in the quiet room behind the pavilion. The 3 princes immediately gained extraordinary physical strength. The eldest prince could hold the golden cudgel, the second prince could swing the 9-tooth rake, and the third prince could also lift the landing wand. But they were too young, after all, and they were exhausted and out of breath after just a few beatings. So they discussed with their masters and asked the blacksmith to reduce the weight and make 3 weapons, according to the sample. Sun Wukong agreed. The next day, the prince summoned the blacksmith and asked him to buy tens of thousands of kilograms of steel. He built a shed in the front yard of the palace and set up a stove. He asked Sun Wukong and the others to place the golden hoop, 9-tooth rake, and magic wand in the shed. Let the blacksmiths build it according to the pattern. Unexpectedly, the 3 weapons were dazzling at night, and the glow attracted the demon yellow lion spirit from the tiger's mouth cave in Leopard Mountain. The yellow lion spirit used magic to steal the 3 weapons. At dawn the next day, the blacksmiths went into the shed to work, but they couldn't find the 3 weapons and hurriedly reported to the prince. The princes did not dare to delay, and quickly asked the 3 masters if they had taken back their weapons. Zhu Bajie blamed the blacksmith for stealing it and waved his fists to beat him. The blacksmiths cried and said, "We are mortals, how can we carry it?" The noisy sound alarmed the king. He came to ask about the cause and effect of the matter, and said, "Our family has lived in this city for 5 generations, and there have never been any thieves." Sun Wukong asked, "Have there been any monsters around outside the city?" Lao Wang said, 40 miles north of the city there is a leopard head mountain. There is a tiger's mouth cave in the mountain. Some people say there are gods in the cave, others say it is a monster. I don't know whether it is true or not." Sun Wukong concluded that the weapon had been stolen by monsters, so he ordered Zhu Bajie and Sha Sang to protect his master, and then flew to Leopard Head Mountain. He saw two little monsters with wolf heads coming from a distance, so he transformed into a butterfly and flew to the little monster's head. He heard the little monster say, "The king just got the beauty, and he took it back last night." 3 weapons, what a blessing. It turned out that after the yellow lion spirit got 3 weapons, he was going to hold a rake party to celebrate, and ordered the 2 little monsters to go down the mountain to buy pigs and sheep. After Sun Wukong understood, he showed his true colors, used the immobilization method to immobilize the little demons, took off the little demons' silver packages, and took off the pink paint tags from their waists. The one on it read cunning and weird and another read weird and tricky. Sun Wukong took these things, rode the clouds back to Yuhua City, reported what he had seen to King Yuhua and his son, and rewarded the wronged blacksmith with the bag of silver. He asked Lao Wang to prepare a few pigs and sheep, and asked Sha Monk to pretend to be a merchant selling pigs and sheep. Zhu Bajie turned into a cunning and weird person, and he himself became weird and cunning again, and he was ready to get rid of the demon. After they were all ready, they drove the pigs and sheep into the mountain. They happened to meet a little monster holding an invitation box and going to Juji Mountain to invite the 9-spirit Yuansheng from Juk Panhuan Cave to come to the harrowing feast tomorrow. After Sun Wukong took the post and read it, he gave it back to the little demon and everyone went their separate ways. They drove the pigs and sheep outside the door of Huku Cave. The demon Huang Shang came out of the cave after hearing the sound. Sun Wukong pretended that he owed a merchant 5 taels of silver, and the yellow lion spirit ordered a little demon to go into the cave to get it. Seeing that he could not enter the hole, Sun Wukong became anxious, so he said, "This merchant also wants to open his eyes and see our rake." Huang Shang was very unhappy after hearing this, and said, "Why are you talking nonsense to others?" Before Huang Shang agreed, Sun Wukong took Sha Sang and Bajie and ran into the cave. After they entered the cave, they saw their 3 weapons enshrined on the stone table in the middle of the hall. Huang Shang hurriedly followed them in, and warned behind them, "This merchant, the one in the middle, is a nail rake. You can do it, but don't tell others nonsense after you go out." When Zhu Bajie saw his nail rake, he could no longer hold his temper. He jumped on the stone table, grabbed his nail rake, showed his true colors, and hit the yellow lion spirit. Sun Wukong and Sha Monk also jumped on the stone table. Each took their weapons and showed their original appearance. Huang Shang was stunned, hurriedly took out a 4-pointed shovel, and asked loudly, "Who are you? Dare to come and steal my treasure?" Sun Wukong scolded Huang Shang for being a thief and stealing people's things, but instead falsely accused others of robbery. They fought their way out of the cave and came out of the cave. The yellow lion spirit couldn't defeat them, so they made a feint and took advantage of a loophole to escape to the southeast. Zhu Bajie wanted to chase him, but Sun Wukong said, "Let him run away. Let's cut off his way back." So the 3 of them came to the entrance of the cave and killed all the little monsters. After Sun Wukong and the other 3 took the money from the cave, they drove out the pigs and sheep, and after moving out the corpses of several monsters that had been killed, they set fire to the tiger's mouth cave and burned it to the ground. They used magic to transport the pigs, sheep, money, and the body of the little demon back to Yuhua Mansion. Sun Wukong and others told the story of how to destroy the demon to Prince Yuhua, his son and their master. Lao Wang was happy and worried at the same time. He was afraid that Huang Shang would take revenge in the future. Sure enough, the yellow lion spirit fled to Juk Panhuan Cave in Juji Mountain, where he found the 9-headed lion monster Juling Yuansheng and begged him to avenge him. Juling Yuansheng initially blamed him, saying that he should not provoke Sun Wukong, who loved to cause trouble, but later, he agreed to Huang Shang and went to Yuhua City to find Sun Wukong to vent his anger for him. So he ordered a group of mixed-haired lion spirits and yellow lion spirits and set off together. The lion demons blew up the strong wind and headed straight for Yuhua City. In an instant, Yuhua City was filled with sand and rocks, the sky was dark and the earth was dark, and the soldiers and civilians in the city were so frightened that they hid here and there. Prince Yuhua and his son, Tang Monk and his disciples also hid on the city tower. Sun Wukong asked Lao Wang to order soldiers to close the gates in all directions, and asked the prince to lead troops to guard the city. Then he and his 2 junior brothers rode clouds to fight. In the clouds and mist, a group of miscellaneous lions were rushing over, surrounding the 9 spirits, Yuansheng. Sun Wukong and the other 3 stepped forward with weapons in hand. When Huang Shang saw Zhu Bajie, He was so angry that he raised his shovel and hit him. Zhu Bajie also picked up his rake and fought against him. The two sides fought a fierce battle over Yuhua City. Zhu Bajie was not careful with his move and was caught by the snow lion. Seeing this situation, Shaseng became anxious and was defeated. Sun Wukong hurriedly pulled out a handful of vellus hairs, chewed and spat them out, and transformed into more than 100 little monkeys. The little monkeys surrounded the lion demon, tearing and biting it. The lion demons were so frightened that they panicked and ran away for their lives. Monk helped Sun Wukong capture the Baze lion and Swanni lion, and escorted them back to the tower together. The next day, the yellow lion spirit brought the elephant lion, snow lion, Tuanxiang lion, and Fuli lion to the sky above Yuhua City, asking Sun Wukong and the others to go out and fight. Sun Wukong and Monk each used their own strategies to fight against the 5 lion spirits. At this moment, Zhuling Yuan Sheng drove a black cloud directly to the city tower. His 9 heads opened their bloody mouths and captured Tang Seng and Yuhua Wang and his son. When Sun Wukong heard someone calling from the tower, he knew he had fallen into a trap. He hurriedly told Monk to be careful. Then he pulled out all the hair on his arms, chewed it into his mouth, chewed it, and sprayed it out. He transformed into hundreds of Sun Wukongs, and all rushed up. Attacking the lion spirit, he defeated the rhinoceros lion, captured the snow lion alive, captured the elephant lion, overturned the raccoon lion, and beat the yellow lion spirit to death with a stick. When they returned to the city, the princess cried and told Sun Wukong that Prince Yuhua, his son, and Tang Seng were captured by the 9-headed lion monster using magic. Sun Wukong comforted the princess for a while. Early the next morning, Sun Wukong and Seng came to Juji Mountain and found Panhuan Cave. Zhuling Yuansheng heard the little demon reporting that Sun Wukong and Seng were coming. He walked out of the cave without wearing armor or weapons. As soon as Sun Wukong and Seng saw the old demon, they each raised their weapons and fought him. The old demon shook his head, and 8 more heads appeared on the left and right sides. They opened their mouths and took Sun Wukong and Seng into their mouths. They took them back to the cave and let the little demon tie them up. He ordered the little demon to beat Sun Wukong first to avenge the yellow lion spirit, but the beating continued until dark, and a lot of sticks were broken, but Sun Wukong was fine. It was late at night, and the old demon and the little demon were fast asleep. Sun Wukong used a spell to make his body smaller, got out of the rope, took out the golden hoop, and tapped the little demon on the head, and the little demon became smaller, became meatloaf. He lit the lamp and untied the rope of the nearby monk. Zhu Bajie became anxious when he saw it, and shouted to help him untie the rope. Unexpectedly, Zhu Bajie's voice woke up the old demon. Sun Wukong secretly scolded Bajie for his bad deeds, and immediately blew out the lamp. Without caring about the others, he broke several doors with a golden hoop and escaped. The old demon came over holding a light and found that a little demon had been beaten to death, and Sun Wukong and Seng had also escaped. He quickly led the little demons to chase them. Monk ran slowly and was caught again and tied up. After Sun Wukong escaped, he called the local land god to ask him about the origin of the old demon. The earth god told him that old demon descended from the sky to Juji Mountain the year before last. If you want to subdue him, you have to go to Dongji Maoyan Palace to ask his master Taiyi to help Kutianzun. Sun Wukong, after hearing this, he took off his somersault cloud and went straight to Dongshanmen to find Taiyi to save Kutianzun. When Sun Wukong came to Maoyan Palace, Taiyi rescued Kutianzun and stepped down from the lotus throne to meet him. Sun Wukong explained his purpose, and Tianzun ordered the general beside him to go to the lion room to call the lion slave for questioning. It turned out that the lion slave secretly drank a bottle of wine and slept for 3 days and 3 nights. The 9 lions escaped privately and went to the mortal world. Tianzun led all the gods and lion slaves to Juji Mountain. Arriving at Juji Mountain, Tianzun asked Sun Wukong to lead the old demon out first. In the cave, the old demon heard Sun Wukong yelling and banging on the door outside. He was very angry, so he walked out of the cave and opened his mouth to bite Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong had been prepared for a long time. He turned around and jumped onto the high cliff, yelling, "Bold goblin, you don't know whether to live or die, your grandpa is here." Tianzun recited a spell, and the monster saw that he was his master, fell on all 4s on the ground, and showed his original shape. The lion slave ran over, grabbed the hair on the lion's neck, beat him and scolded him, and then placed the brocade cushion on the lion's back. Tianzun rode up on it, shouted "Let's go," and the lion flew into the air. Kaiyan went back to Miaoyan Palace. Sun Wukong entered the cave, untied Prince Yuhua, his son, his master, and his junior brothers one by one, and led them out of Panhuan Cave. Zhu Bajie set a fire and burned the whole. The three brothers each cast spells to send Prince Yuhua, his son, and Tang Seng back to the city. The next day, Sun Wukong asked the butcher to kill the 6 living lion demons and distribute the meat to the people in the city. At this time, the blacksmith had made 3 weapons, and Sun Wukong and the others taught the 3 princes martial arts for several days until they were completely proficient. Before leaving, Lao Wing had someone bring out a large plate of gold and silver to thank them, but Sun Wukong and the others refused and refused. However, Zhu Bajie's clothes were torn by the lion spirit, and he asked to make a new one for him. Lao Wing asked the tailor to make one for each of them. Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.